All right, so you want to be a post office counter clerk. Sounds kind of simple, right? Like, how hard can it be? Stamps, envelopes, the whole 9 yards.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But then I got my hands on these RoleCatcher guides you brought with you.
Let me tell you, this deep dive is going to be interesting. It's not just your grandma's mailroom anymore.
You're telling me it's amazing how much this role has actually changed. I mean, you think post office, you picture something pretty old school, right?
Totally.
But these guides paint a totally different picture. You're dealing with financial products, navigating all those postal regulations, and needing top-notch customer service skills. It's a whole different ballgame.
Seriously. One thing that really jumped out at me was this whole selling financial products thing.
I mean, I get the whole money order thing, but are we talking like full-on financial advising behind the counter now?
Well, maybe not financial advising, but you're definitely a resource for people, especially in communities that might not have as many bank branches.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right. Think about it. You're helping people understand those money orders, which, let's be real, can be essential for someone who might not, use a traditional checking account.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might even be guiding them on savings bonds, which can really have a huge impact on someone's financial well-being.
That's a lot of responsibility. And speaking of responsibility, the guide also had this whole section about dealing with difficult customers, which I can only imagine is a daily occurrence. Long lines, everyone's in a rush, gotta love it.
Oh, tell me about it. That's where all those soft skills the guide keeps mentioning come in.
Right.
It's one thing to know the regulations like the back of your hand, but can you explain to some frustrated customer why they can't mail a box full of fireworks?
Ooh, good point.
That takes diplomacy, my friend. And some serious patience.
And on-the-spot thinking too, right? Because you don't exactly have all day to explain every little rule.
Exactly. It's like you need to be a postal regulation encyclopedia with the patience of a saint.
100%. And get this on top of everything else. You're processing passports.
That's right.
I had no idea that was part of a post office counter clerk's job description.
It's true.
We're not just talking about sending postcards anymore. You're literally a vital part of people's travel plans, their ability to, prove their identity.
It's a big deal.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is, and the guide does a nice job of outlining all the steps involved, like you're verifying documents, making sure everything's legit, guiding people through that whole application process.
Okay, so we've established this is not just licking stamps all day. But what about actually moving up in this role? Does the guide talk about career progression?
It does. They actually have these sample career profiles showing what, an entry-level clerk versus a junior clerk, even a senior clerk, what they handle. You can literally see the ladder, what you could be climbing.
So it's not just a dead end. You can really build a career out of this. What kind of stuff do they highlight for moving up the ranks?
Well, obviously experience is going to be huge, but they also talk about taking on more responsibility, maybe specializing in something you're good at.
Makes sense.
Like those financial services we were talking about,
Huh.
or even, getting into training new hires.
So the more you know, the more valuable you become to the whole postal service.
Exactly. And that's where those RoleCatcher resources can really give you a leg up.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we were talking about that AI-powered resume builder they have? It's not just some, generic template filler. This thing actually digs into the job descriptions, pulls out all those keywords employers are looking for, and helps you tailor your resume to each specific opportunity.
So it's like having a secret decoder ring for job applications?
Right.
That's got to be way better than me just trying to guess what sounds good to some hiring manager.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop there. The AI also checks your resume for things like clarity, impact, It's like having a career coach in your pocket, giving you feedback, suggesting ways to make your application really stand out from the crowd.
Okay, see, now that's what I'm talking about. That would be a game changer. No more me sweating bullets, stumbling over my words in the interview.
Totally. They've got this whole interview prep section that's next level. You can practice answering common interview questions with the AI.
Get it.
And it even gives you feedback on your delivery, suggests ways to improve your answers. Imagine walking into that interview feeling totally prepped, confident, because you've already aced those tough questions.
Okay, but even if you totally nail the interview, just keeping track of all those applications, nightmare. I'm telling you, I'm like the king of spreadsheets. And I still lose track sometimes.
Well, RoleCatcher has got you covered there, too. They have this thing called RoleCatcher Capture. Basically, you can save job postings from all over the place.
Nice.
LinkedIn, Indeed, company websites, you name it. Manage everything in one place. No more messy spreadsheets, no more lost sticky notes.
So, A personal assistant for your job search.
Pretty much.
That's amazing. But okay, here's what really blew my mind. They have this reverse matching thing. Employers can actually find you
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
based on your skills and experience. It's like they flipped the script on the whole job search thing.
Totally. You're not just like throwing your resume into the void and hoping for the best, you know? You're putting yourself out there, showcasing what you've got, and letting potential employers come to you.
So instead of chasing down jobs, you're the one being sought after. Talk about a confidence booster.
Right. It makes so much sense, though, right? Employers, they're looking for that perfect candidate, someone who's, got the right skills, the experience, someone who'd be a good fit for their team. And RoleCatcher just kind of streamlines the whole process, makes those connections happen, like, way more efficiently.
Now, the guy did mention some of the challenges of the job, like, dealing with those long lines, difficult customers, all that fun stuff. It's not all sunshine and roses, is it?
Yeah, for sure. And they also mentioned having to stay updated on all those, like, always changing postal regulations.
Right. I can't even imagine how often they tweak those rules. Maybe like you'd almost need a photographic memory to keep up.
You're not wrong. It takes a certain kind of person, I think, to really thrive in that kind of environment. Someone who's adaptable, resourceful, can think on their feet. But you got to think at the impact, though. Like, in a world that's becoming so digital, you're still providing this vital service
Right.
to your community.
Totally.
You're that human connection. You're that friendly face behind the counter.
That's a really good point. It's not just about processing like transactions. It's about the connections, the actual impact on people's lives.
100%. And let's be honest, we've all been there. We've all had those moments where we're at the post office, we need a little help.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to decipher a form or figure out, like, the cheapest way to ship this thing. A good post office counter clerk. They can make all the difference. They can turn what could be a super stressful experience into something positive.
This deep dive has seriously changed my whole perspective on this job, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it in a whole new light. It's not just about the tasks. It's the connections, the impact you have.
And the potential. I mean, with some experience under your belt, a bit of, strategic planning, you could climb that ladder, maybe specialize in something that really clicks with you.
Right.
Get into management, maybe even training. It's a lot more dynamic than it gets credit for.
And RoleCatcher really gave us a lot to think about. They laid out the skills you need, the career stuff, and those resources. Oh man, those resources.
Seriously.
They've got you covered every step of the way, it seems like.
Like, they created this whole toolkit, right? For anyone who's serious about this career path as a post office counter clerk. They help you put your best foot forward, present yourself confidently, make those connections, and really shine in a role that, honestly, is often really underestimated.
For sure. So if you're looking for a job that's not just a job, right, where you can be part of your community, make a difference, maybe rock a cool uniform while you're at it, don't rule out the post office counter clerk.
It's a job with hidden depths, and with the right mindset, it could be a really fulfilling and honestly surprisingly dynamic career path. Now, here's something to think about as we wrap up today. As technology keeps changing at warp speed, how do you think the post office will need to adapt? How can they stay relevant and keep serving the needs of our communities in this ever-changing world? Something to think about.